What's silver, red, and birthed from the Emperor's gene seed? It's the Grey Knights, and we're tackling their combat patrol box in today's video. Let's go! What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Miniatures Tavern. My name is Watts, and today we're going to be discussing the combat patrol box for the Great Knights, or as they call it, Aurelios's Banishers. Now, these are the models you're going to get in the box here. Let's talk about the unit composition. You're going to get one Librarian Aurelios, you're going to get a 5-man strike squad, and then you're going to have to decide whether you want to take a 5-man squad of Brotherhood Terminators, or if you want to take the Nemesis Dread Knight. If you decide to take the Brotherhood Terminators, you're going to get a total of 11 models, and if you decide to take the Nemesis Dread Knight, you're going to get a total of 7 models. Total points of the army with Terminators is 445 points, and total points with the Dreadnought is coming in at 420. And as always, here's the price breakdown. You could pick up this box, this Combat Patrol from Games Workshop, for $160. You could pick it up off of Amazon. At the time of this recording, I was able to find some at the $136 price point, and also $136 price point on eBay. So let's go ahead and take a look at how we're going to equip our models in the Grey Knights Combat Patrol box. Your Librarian is going to have Purge Soul, which is a psychic attack. He's also going to be equipped with a Nemesis Force weapon. Your 5-man strike squad, your Justicar, is going to be equipped with a Storm Bolter and a Nemesis Force weapon. That's kind of what they call the Sergeant in the Grey Knights army. 3 Grey Knights are going to be equipped with a Storm Bolter and a Nemesis Force weapon, and you can equip one of those models with a silencer and a close combat weapon. If you're taking the Terminators, one Terminator Justicar, again, that's just another name for their Sergeant, is going to have a Storm Bolter and a Nemesis Force weapon. 3 Brotherhood Terminators are going to have Bolters and a Nemesis Force weapon. And then your last model can be equipped with a Psy Cannon and a Nemesis Force weapon. Your Dread Knight, this model is going to be equipped with a heavy Psy Cannon and a Nemesis Greatsword. The Thunder Hammer does not have a weapons profile in this Combat Patrol box. Just letting you know up front, you're going to see that when we look at the data cards. So you can equip this model with the Thunder Hammer, but there is no weapon profile for the Thunder Hammer in the Combat Patrol loadout. So just be aware of that. Moving along to the Army rules, abilities, and enhancements. The Army rule in Combat Patrol for the Grey Knights is Teleport Assault. And what this is going to do for you, this is actually pretty cool. At the end of your opponent's turn, you could select one Grey Knight unit from your army with this ability, excluding units that are within engagement range of one or more enemy units, and remove that unit from the battlefield. In the reinforcement step of your next movement phase, set that unit up anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inches horizontally away from all enemy models. Any units that are not on the battlefield at the end of the battle count as being destroyed. So this is probably one of the coolest army rules in the Combat Patrol line. I know that there might be armies that have other cool rules, but this one is pretty awesome. At the end of your opponent's movement phase, you're going to be able to take one unit, as long as they're not in combat or in combat range, an engagement range, and you're going to be able to remove them, and they're going to be able to come down anywhere on the board within 9 inches of enemy models. So this is going to be great if you're playing missions where you have to take your opponent's objective in their deployment zone. If you want to flank an enemy unit and kind of double up and attack a unit, this is a really powerful rule, and it's really cool, and it really makes the Grey Knights unique. Super cool rule. Now, carrying forward, we're going to take a look at the secondary objectives and stratagems. So you have 2 secondary objectives, just like every other Combat Patrol army that you can choose from. You need to choose one. Your first or default secondary objective is called Champion of Titan, and you're going to score 6 victory points each time your Warlord destroys an enemy character model. So the Librarian is your Warlord. You have to pick him as the leader. Anytime he destroys a enemy character model, you're going to score 6 victory points. Or you could choose the optional secondary objective, which is no escape. And at the end of any of your opponent's turns, you score 10 VP if you control the objective marker closest to your opponent's battlefield edge, and you control the objective marker closest to your own battlefield edge. You can only score VP from this objective once per battle. So you've got the teleport ability, and you've got this no escape secondary objective that you're able to take. You could start to see here how the synergies are going to stack together to allow you to pick up max amount of victory points during your battle, during your combat patrol battle. So very good secondary objectives here for the Grey Knights. Next up, we're going to take a look at the stratagems that are available to you as a Grey Knights Combat Patrol player. The first one is Warded Plate. And until the end of the phase, each time an attack targets your unit, if the strength characteristic of that attack is greater than your unit's toughness characteristic, subtract 1 from the wound roll. You're going to be able to use this in your opponent's shooting phase or fight phase just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. So that's pretty good. It gives you a little bit of durability, makes it harder for your opponent to wound your models. But only if the strength characteristic is greater than your unit's toughness characteristic. So the weapon has to be more powerful than you in order to subtract that 1 from the wound roll. Next up, we have Unyielding to the Last. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit is destroyed, if that model has not fought this phase, roll 1d6. On a 4-up, do not remove it from play. The destroyed model can fight after the attacking model's unit has finished making its attacks and then is removed from play. So another classic fight on death. You're going to be able to do this in the fight phase just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. So you can blow this CP. You can fight on death on a 4-up. Pretty good, you know. It allows you to get one more attack in, maybe do some revenge damage on that unit for taking out some of your models. And finally, the third stratagem is called Emergency Teleport. This one is pretty awesome. You're probably going to want... it's a little expensive. It's 2 CP, so it's very costly, but there's something to think about, maybe keeping some command points in your pocket. Until the end of the turn, your unit is eligible to be selected for the Teleport Assault ability, even though it is within engagement range of enemy units. And you can do this in your opponent's fight phase. So if your opponent selects one of your units, charges, and gets within engagement range, which is base within a base, and you have 2 command points, you can blow that and dip those dudes right out of combat. So, oops, there you go. And it doesn't say here that your opponent can then select a new target. So until the end of the turn, your unit is eligible to be selected from the Teleport Assault ability, even though it's within engagement range of an enemy unit. So they just blew their charge. So this is really powerful. It is costly though, however, two command points. Something to think about though. The other ones are pretty good. They give you a little durability here. They let you, so you got one that's defensive, you got one that's offensive, and then you got one that's kind of like an escape tactic. So pretty good, pretty good. All right, and now it's time to jump into the meat and the potatoes, and let's take a look at the data sheets. Right now, we have a Librarian Aurelios. He's going to move 5. He's got a toughness 5, which I think is most of your Terminators here in this unit. He's got a 2-up save. One of the beautiful things about Grey Knights is they all have a 2-up save. Aurelios does have a 4-up invul. He's got 5 wounds. His leadership is 6, and he has 1 objective control. Like I said earlier, Purge Soul is his psychic ability. 1 attack, hitting on 3s, strength 6. Armor penetration -2 and 3 damage, so that's pretty powerful. And if you focused Witchfire, if you overcharge, you're going to get AP -2, damage 3. I really don't see any difference there. The only difference is it's going to have precision and it's going to be hazardous. So you're going to have to take that hazardous test. You roll a 1. He is dead. His Nemesis Force Weapon, 4 attacks. hitting on 2s, strength 6, AP -1, damage 2. He could be attached to the Brotherhood Terminator squad, and his ability is Deep Strike. He's going to have Teleport Assault, and while this model is leading a unit, models in that unit have a Feel No Pain 4-up ability against psychic attacks. So it could be pretty good if you're playing against, you know, Thousand Suns or another psychic army. Not going to help you too much if you're playing against Necrons, if you're playing against World Eaters, if you're playing against Black Templars. You know, really not going to be helpful there, but there you go, 4-up. Next is the 5-man strike squad unit. They're going to move 6. They have a toughness 4. They have a 2-up save, just like every other unit in the Grey Knights army. 2 wounds, leadership 6, and their OC is 2. So you're going to get 10 total objective control points from this 5-man unit. So this is a great unit to jump around, grab those objectives. They are battle lines, so you will be able to sticky objectives in combat patrol. That silencer that has that one model that you could take, you're looking at 6 attacks, hitting on 3s, strength 5, 1 damage. And the bolters are going to do rapid fire 2 attacks each, hitting on 3s, strength 4, damage 1. The silencer does have sustained hits 1, so any 6 exploding 6s, you're going to get an extra attack. Their core ability is Deep Strike, and of course they have the Teleport Assault keyword as well. Brotherhood Terminator squad, like some chunky Terminators, just like every other Terminators, move 5, toughness 5, 2-up save, 3 wounds each, leadership 6. They do have a 4-up invul, and their objective control is 2. The Psy Cannon is going to be 3 attacks, hitting on 3s with a strength 8, AP -1, damage 2. And their Storm Bolters are going to be rapid fire 2 attacks, hitting on 3s, strength 4, 1 damage. Their Nemesis Force Weapon is 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, strength 6, AP -2, damage 2. So a lot like the Power Fists with the other Terminators, Nemesis Force Weapon is going to do about the same. Their core ability is Deep Strike. They could come in, you could start them off the board. They could come in at the bottom of your movement phase in turn 2. They all teleport, and then their power, their ability is Hammer Hand, which is psychic. Each time a model in this unit makes a charge move until the end of the turn, melee weapons equipped by models in this unit have the lethal hits ability. So there you go. Every 6 you get, it's going to go right to wound. Finally, the Nemesis Dread Knight. His movement is going to be 8. His toughness is 8. He has a 2-up save, 4-up invul. He has 13 wounds. His leadership is 6, and his objective control is 4. So this is a great unit to just park on an objective. He does not teleport. He does not have that ability. I just noticed that right now. So letting you know right now, there is no teleport for the Nemesis Dread Knight, according to the Combat Patrol datasheet. He has a heavy Psy Cannon. You're looking at a 24-inch range, 6 attacks, hitting on 3s, strength 10, AP -1, damage 3. And that great sword, remember the hammer does not have a attack profile in Combat Patrol. The great sword, you can either choose a strike or a sweep. The strike is going to give you 5 attacks, hitting on 3s, strength 10, AP -2, D6 damage. And the sweep is going to give you 10 attacks, hitting on 3s, strength 5, -1 AP, 1 damage. So you get to decide before you swing which profile you want to swing with. Do you want to strike or do you want to sweep? Sweep is really good if you're playing Horde armies and you got a lot of little characters that you're fighting against that maybe have 1 damage, like Grots, you know, things like that. What little 1 damage items. Strike is better against higher wound and higher toughness models. This model also has a bracket, so he starts off with 13 wounds, but if he has 1 to 4 wounds remaining, each time this model makes an attack, you're going to subtract 1 from the hit roll. So for the Psy Cannon, he'll be hitting on 4s, pretty much 4s on everything. So there is a look at the data sheets. And finally, guys, to end the video, let's do our SWAT analysis, our breakdown. Strengths of this army, what I see are strengths are their psychic superiority. Other weapons have the psychic profile. The entire army, even in larger games, they're all psychics. The units are very elite. You have Terminators, you have Dreadknights, you have potent Librarians, and definitely adaptability. You can adapt to situations as these games unfold. You really have a lot of mobility at your fingertips, being able to move your units and dip your units out at the end of the turn. So that is a really powerful mechanic. Some weaknesses that I see for the army is high point cost, and by that I mean it's high point cost and limited numbers. Is that it's terrible that they force you to choose between 5 Terminators and a Dreadknight. It would have been nice if you could just play the entire box, the box in entirety in Combat Patrol, but they do limit that, so that is a weakness. And specialization forces, you don't have a lot of variety. The units that you do have are really good at what they do, but you don't have a lot of variety, so it kind of forces you into one playstyle. Opportunities for the army, their army rule, the #1 opportunity. That teleport assault is going to be a huge advantage for you, not only mechanic wise in playing the games, but also the mind game of the battle. Your opponent, keeping your opponent on their toes, having to cover their backfield, having to make sure that you can't get within 9 inches of their army. So not only do you play a really good mechanical game and a physical game, but this army is also great for the mental game. And remember, a lot of times these games are about forcing your opponent to make mistakes. That's how you win. So it's really good at that. The stratagems are really hefty. You have a great offensive stratagem. You have a great defensive stratagem. And then the stratagem, even though it is costly, you do have that emergency dip out. And that is super powerful. So you have a lot of ways to keep your army alive. You just have to be smart about it. Threats to this army are fast-moving armies. So an army with vehicles, jump packs, models that can fly. These are going to be threats because they're going to be able to get on you quick, which is going to force you to have to survive a round of bombardment and save some models. You know what I mean? Especially if you go second. If your opponent goes first, you really want to take a defensive stand there. Horde or swarm armies, same thing. They can tie you up. They can move those little one wound models right into your units and totally hold you up. So again, it's great to have 2 command points in your pocket. I know it's difficult, but if you could try to keep those 2 command points for key moments like this, you can really swing the tide and swing the battle. And finally, specialized counters. So if you have an army, your opponent has fast-moving units, they can counter your moves. If they have heavy guns, they can counter your moves. If they're staying stagnant, they can counter your moves. They can protect and they can shield out and screen out their backfield, denying you that 9-inch that 9-inch return, that rapid ingress, that 9-inch landing. So you got to be careful. You got to be strategic. But overall, this is a great army to play. It's a super fun army to play. I do have the Grey Knights Combat Patrol, and I do play them. They're a fun, kind of tricksy army, and they're really fun. Well, guys, that wraps up my Grey Knights Combat Patrol breakdown. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. If you did, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. If you know anyone that plays Grey Knights, or if you have played Grey Knights, or if you've played against Grey Knights, and you think I forgot anything, please leave a comment in the comment section. I love the banter, and it would be great to get a conversation going surrounding the video. I really appreciate it, guys. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you in the next video.